Episode 9 of Undiscovered Gems. Still my favourite series to do on this channel. I really like doing these videos. The response is always really good as well, so it's not going to go away anytime soon. The last episode I did was on Emperor X, which was a 2011 indie folk type of album, and this episode 9 is going to be on Choir Boy, Passive with Desire. Please make sure you check out all the other episodes I've done in this series. There's a playlist on the channel. It's all listed on the Undiscovered Gems playlist, obviously, so if you haven't watched any of the others, check them out, get some recommendations. I hope you have enjoyed at least a few of these albums I've talked about, but even still, you can check them out. And if you don't like them, it's just one album you don't like and you can move on with your life, and that's about it. Choir Boy is a band that haven't done much work. I don't see much about this band at all. They dropped this album in 2016. They haven't done anything really since. There's no albums on the way, I don't think. If there is, then I'm not entirely aware of it. And their style and sound is very much indebted to the 80s. This is a very much 80s throwback of an album. Sometimes stuff like that can be really frustrating. A lot of pop music typically throws it back to the 80s or sometimes even the 90s. But the 80s is like the one that everyone craves. I'm sure there'll be a point in time where we move past it and start craving the 2000s. Maybe one day we'll be craving the 2010s, who knows? But it seems the most common style of throwback music goes to the 80s. And just by that standard alone, this album in theory should not really appeal to me that much. A lot of this type of music can often just be really stale, boring, redundant, but Choir Boy don't seem to hit that point ever on this album. Their brand of new romantic art pop, sophisticated pop, is done in such a delicate fashion that it's really hard to say no to, even if it's something you've heard plenty of times before. I reckon you could make a direct comparison to a band like Blue Nile, not in the vocals but specifically in the music, but you've got this gothic tinge to it as well that Choir Boy throw in that works really well. It's very synth heavy music with this almost dark wave appeal to it that makes it a very moody, atmospheric listen that gives off this like autumnal vibe as well, which is perfect for anyone who lives in the UK right now because it currently is autumn. But I don't know if you don't live in the UK, if you're from like Australia or whatever, it's not autumn for you. But if it is autumn for you, then it is a good time to listen to this. There's definitely some of that post-punk feel to this album as well, but it's almost in the way that New Order were doing it on albums like Power, Corruption and Lies, especially with the opening track, Two Lips. The best track on the whole thing though has got to be Leave Me Be. What a great song that is. Honestly, such a fantastic song. The chorus on that thing is so damn catchy as well, and the guitar tone is just... ooh. I do really like as well how this guy's vocals, particularly on the Passive with Desire title track, can just be so subtle, but they're very moving as well. Like he just has this way to just lure you in, even though he's not doing a lot with his voice. It's just very just whispery at points, just very soft. I just love how his voice is kind of like used as an instrument and it just blends in with the songs. It's not like completely above the mix, it's not too under the mix as well. It's just sitting in the mid-range and it just perfectly like moves along with the tracks. I just really like that. It just has such a nice vibe and feeling to it. As I have already mentioned, it is quite a delicate album, so some of these tracks might not reach out to you on first listen, but I'd stick with it. It might take a few listens to completely get captivated by it all, but it's worth the wait. The closer is definitely the most understated track on the album, Dark Room. I think what carries this song though is the performance from the vocalist. He just takes the album home, ends on quite a somber note, but it feels satisfying. Sometimes ending your album on the slowest track on the entire album is kind of cliche. You're ending on a ballad or whatever and it just kind of leaves a sour note by the end, but actually I think they do this so damn well that it doesn't drag the album down at all. So yeah, there's not much else to say, I don't think. I've pretty much summed up some of the individual tracks here as they pretty much carry through the rest of the album, so there's no point in digging into every song when the album follows a very similar mood and vibe the whole way through, and it carries it so well. So I hope you go listen to this. I definitely think you'll get something out of it. As I've already mentioned, the artists I've compared it to, I mean, if you're a fan of any of those, then this will definitely be for you. I feel like the fans of The Cure will get something out of this as well. So there's a lot to like, there's a lot to take away. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, hope you're enjoying this series still. Yeah, have a good day. Listen to the album, subscribe, consider donating to Patreon. That'd be cool. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.